This reading is for Raphael. We're going to look at your big six. And to do that, we're going to start with the big three, starting with the rising sign. A rising sign in Leo is a fire energy that starts off the whole house system. So the experiences perceived and the experience of dawning on new people in his life is going to be one of emotion and enthusiasm and passion. He's going to be the kind of person that has the potential to really light up a room with his energy. When he is excited about something, you can really feel it in him and it radiates off of him. He has a pride about him that he's going to want to nurture, and he's going to want to be in situations where he's told what he is of value to the group or to the individual that he experiences. He's the kind of person that needs genuine input of what he is doing right to feel reassured that he is of value to the situation and that his creative ability is unique and special. It's not a fragile ego, but it's the kind of energy where they shine brighter with the more genuine energy around them. He'll be more likely to open up and feel authentic when he knows that he's in a safe space and people really value him. Moving to the sun sign, where he most likely will feel his identity. The ego lives in the sun, and for him, it's at the top of his chart in the 10th house. So whatever he decides to do in life, he's going to have this like purpose-driven identity where he feels like there's something bigger than himself that he wants to be part of. And in the sign of Taurus, which is a fixed sign, just like his rising sign, he's going to be more likely to stay the course of whatever he desires to do in life. He's going to rely on the stability of these things. His public reputation will be important to him, how people view him. He wants to be somebody that people can rely on, that take him seriously. And he's going to want to not have a whole bunch of turbulence and changes in his everyday identity. He's going to want to have a solid reputation and a solid image of who he is. And in that Venus ruled energy, he might be more in touch with his feminine nature. Not that he will be feminine, but just that he might have a softer, gentler way about him. And he might appreciate like aesthetic harmonies, and he might have a nice eye for taste and music. People with the sun in Taurus do really well at like being exposed to nature. He might just have a real natural appreciation for things in life that are of a natural being. And when he's upset or frustrated or off course, just surrounding him in nature will be very therapeutic for him. In the moon sign, he's Aquarius moon in the 8th house, another fixed sign. So his big three has a fixed energy about him. So he's going to be someone that, even on his deepest intimate relationship with himself and with his mother, the moon rules mother, he is going to be in a perception of, I am this, you are that, and that's the way it is. So early in life, we want to have him experience the positive expressions of signs so that he can have this perception of the positive, and he can stand on that solid foundation of the high expressions of his signs. Because with all that fixed energy, he might be somebody that it's hard to change his mind about things. So we want to make sure that the people closest to him and how he sees himself is of a high standing and in the best light. So that's what he goes back to. That's always his default feeling, is that, yes, this is good, this is right, this is who we are, this is how I view myself. He might view his mother as with the Aquarian nature of someone who is open-minded in herself, maybe into little unusual things, but who feels free in who she is and her ability to express herself without social pressures of fitting in. And he'll learn from you that it's okay to be different and stand out, and it's okay to have different interests than the group, and that you can still be part of something and not have to be a loner. It's okay to be a little different than the crowd and still be part of the crowd. And with his Leo rising and his Aquarian moon, those are opposing energies. So he wants to be someone that's known for being special as a Leo, what he personally can bring and stand out and separate him and be his own light in the world. But with that Aquarian moon, he still needs to be part of a group or the community feel. So these are not loner positions. And his sun in the 10th house of Taurus is a very public energy, it's not private. So all of his big three is something that he's not really going to super like changes. And he's not a loner person. He'll thrive more in a group setting where he's appreciated for who he is. Moving on to the other part of the big six, the later three, we look to Mercury of how he thinks, how he expresses his thoughts. That's in the sign of Taurus. So what is pleasant is when the sun and Mercury are in the same sign, because then who he is, how he most likely identifies of himself, will be expressed and then furtherly complemented by the way he speaks and thinks. So it's all in alignment with who he is. So that makes it easier for his thoughts to flow and easier for him to be seen as somebody who talks the talk but also walks the walk. He's likely to take action the same way he talks about it. So that's nice when those are the same. It'll be a peaceful union for him and an easier self-expression. He does have those in two different houses. So his Mercury is in the 11th house, and that is more of his, friendships and social groups, his high ideals of what long-term goals look like for him. And it looks like with Mercury there, he's going to be kind of the person who likes to think about the future. He might be somebody that really knows what he wants in life from an early age and has a great mind and path to get that in life with all that fixed energy, whatever he decides to do. Because now this is a fourth planet of his big six in a fixed sign. So whatever he decides to do, he's going to have great ambition and perseverance for that. He's going to be seen as somebody very determined from the get-go. And with it in the 11th house, he's going to be thinking about long-term. He's not going to be as impulsive as other fire sign risings with this Taurus sun and Mercury. He's going to be a little bit more tenacious and a little bit more thoughtful and methodical in his nature of making things happen. So don't be surprised if he, has some high dream of climbing Mount Everest one day and he actually does it, because he's the kind of person that can set the bar high and then take the steps and never give up to get there. And then in the 11th house with friendships and groups, he might be somebody that is very inspiring to his peers, or later in life his friend groups. He might, to go off the Everest thing, he might have this climbing group and they're a team and they do things together. It's that group mentality with Mercury in the 11th house. You're very group minded. It's less about just what he wants and it's more about what's best for all of us. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time thinking about that. And with his Aquarian moon, that's also a group mindedness. So he's going to be having energy involved in other people's concerns and other people's interests. And it's not just all about him. And Venus, we look to Venus for our expressions of love, what we love, who we love, how we act in love. In the 9th house, he's going to have a love of higher experiences. Some people say that's higher education. So we're told we need to go to school, but at a certain age, we don't have to anymore. If you have Venus in the ninth house, there is this love that you get from exciting your perspective. So the bigger he can push his perspective open in the world, he's going to go for it and he's really going to benefit from it. In the sign of Pisces, that's the first time that we've seen the modes change here from fixed to mutable. So that's significant because he has a stellium in the ninth house in a mutable energy. So when it comes to him really growing and changing and evolving in who he is and his perspective of the world, it happens in the ninth house for him. So he's going to really benefit from going like overseas, going into cultures that are not familiar to him, learning from other people. Maybe he'll want to study abroad in college. And it's about learning and pushing the mind, but it's about pushing the spirit in Pisces. He's really curious about how other people find spirituality and the depth of humanity. He wants to feel the big range of emotions and how other people are showing compassion and creativity. And he might, with his Leo rising being in this creative energy and all that Pisces, he might, in his college days or when he's starting to become his own person, really get into this creative energy and express his emotions through some type of art. And he might learn that from somewhere that's totally foreign to how he is used to perceiving things. So he'll be kind of person that a lot of his energy doesn't want to try new things because it's fixed. He's used to routine and he'll like routine. That's going to make him feel comforted. But to really have this evolution of spirit, he's going to need to get out of his comfort zone and go experience something completely new. That's what makes me say like travel abroad, learning, joining a missionary trip, something that pulls him out of himself into this spiritual awareness. And he really is craving that in this life with the Pisces stellium in the ninth house. He wants a new perspective. He wants to shake things up and he wants to grow from it. Ninth house is about growth, expansion, and he wants to expand his spirit. So he's going to get himself in positions where maybe he's not comfortable, but he's going to learn a lot about how other people do things and get in touch with his spirituality that way. Same thing with Mars, so that just gives him a drive. So where other totally fixed signs might never want to do anything different because they like routine and consistency and just chipping away at goals, which is fine, and that is a strength. But he has this Piscean Mars energy in the ninth house too. So it's going to help kick drive that ninth house. It's going to kind of set it on fire here. It's going to say, okay, well, I can't just stay the same because there's this side of me that is really motivated by what it's like in other places. And I need to get myself there. And I need to experience this spiritual evolution and growth. And I want to know what it's like to have that no boundary expression of love, compassion, real human emotion. And in Mars, he is going to have that ambition now to make actions to do that. So that's really great to have in a stellium. I think when you have Mars in the stellium, that's really good news because that's the conscious effort to go. Let's do something about it. We have all these planets here. We'll be happy once we do it. Neptune there, maybe there's some confusion. Jupiter in the ninth house is where it's likes to be. And then Mars there too. It's like, okay, let's get this party started. Mars is in the mix. Something's going to happen there. Internally, we're going to want something to go. So he's going to have a little bit more sense of adventure than other fixed sign people. And this sense of adventure with Mars there and then Jupiter in ninth too, he's going to have the motivation and then the luck doing it. He's going to get started doing something outside of his comfort zone that really broadens his world, and he's going to love it and he's going to have luck in it, and people are going to feel like a new energy from him, and he might just fall in love doing that and want to do some kind of career off of that. If you see, I know I'm getting off the big six here, but if you see his Jupiter touching his MC, sky's the limit with that position. You become more bold and courageous the more that you get out there when Jupiter's in the ninth house. And then when it's touching the MC, Jupiter is the planet of just go for it, trust the universe, we got you. Pisces and Jupiter, that's a natural placement. Jupiter is a co-ruler of Pisces. So is all these things working in his favor to encourage his curiosity and growth here? And he actually finds his highest expression when he leans into that the most. People think job because in society, how we get rewarded for our highest expression and full potential is usually through career and money. So that's where we go a lot with that. Doesn't have to be. He could be a parent himself one day and just really love to take his kids to different places around the world. He could just be a really adventurous parent. But if it is about a career, he's going to want to do something where he, on the regular, expands his world across the world, international pilot or a missionary or a uh, professional traveler, anything where he is getting a chance to really take in new experiences on a regular basis. So that's very exciting, and I'm happy to see that for him because it's just a very favorable position for Jupiter to be in. And then I think that is the big six plus Jupiter. So I think I talked about everything I wanted to for this one. But yeah, it's a pleasure. And I hope that he is willing to go that first time into adventure because he won't regret it. And then he'll be set for life. And that's what he's going to want to do. In his youth, he'll benefit from stability, but as he gets a little bit older, he's going to love to travel and be of new experiences. Okay, so let me know if you need any information or if you need something clarified. I'm happy to do that for you. I'm going to stop here. Thanks so much for being part of this page.